So good morning. We've got another project today, and we're about to do something that is going to help me with the last project. I think it might have been the last video or one of the last videos where I was up by the brook showing you an area I wanted to clear. So finally I've gotten to the point where I could go ahead and get one of these. So I went ahead and bought a 5-foot rotary cutter. And it's designed for the 450 RPM smaller tractors like mine, between 20 and 40, I think, horsepower. So what we're going to do today is actually, I called it an unboxing, but there was no box. This is the way they put it on my trailer with the forklift. No problem, though. But there is some assembly, so from that standpoint, it is kind of an unboxing. I originally wasn't going to record it, and then I realized there's quite a few steps to it, and it's a little bit, confusing at first. Overall, not that bad at all, honestly. But I thought I'd go ahead and record it for you, and so you can kind of see how easy it is to put together in case you want to get one of these. And we'll go through that today, show you everything I do to do that, the tools I'm using, and I don't know, if we get a chance on this video, we'll test it out. If we don't have a chance, then the next video will definitely be putting it on a tractor and trying it out. So anyway, hope you enjoy this. Welcome to TWC Projects. I'm glad you're with me today, and let's get started. All right, so before we actually get started on the work, I wanted to make sure I went over a few things to make sure you have. It took me a few minutes to figure it out too, because these are all in American, or English system, I should say, not American, but English system measurements. So 15/16 wrench work, but I needed another one for the other side, so these, I'm going to use that here. I also grabbed a 24 millimeter for folks with metric wrenches. That works as well there. I didn't have anything big enough for these. Well, I did have some that they weren't the right size. They were either too big or too small. So thankfully, I have one of these big old heavy duty crescent wrenches. So we've got our 2 wrenches to deal with the different bolts and nuts that we've got to take off. We've got just some clippers. Any clippers or a knife will do to cut out the zip ties that are here and there that we want to take off as we get ready to assemble. I have these, and I'll show you why I need these. You could use any kind of a metal rod or big screwdriver or something. We're going to use that to put through this hole as we try to loosen these nuts on the side of the lower 3-point posts. And then this guy is a neat little tool I have for releasing rings. We've got this a spring-loaded ring that goes around the PTO, or part of the shaft. So we'll need to deal with that. And then actually, I'm missing one too. I'm supposed to have a wrench for this. I'll figure out what the size is for that and get that in the mix to take that off to put oil in there. And we'll talk about, oh yeah, I should have had that out too. So we also need a grease gun, because we've got several joints we're going to grease. And most importantly is the 85W90 gear oil. We need to fill that thing up with gear oil. In fact, I saw one of these on the internet on Facebook Marketplace, and it said, brand new, only been used once, but needs a new gearbox. And it was pretty clear that they probably didn't realize or didn't think to put gear oil in it and used it long enough to burn it out. Anyway, I didn't want to mess with that, and so I ended up just going ahead and getting one at Tractor Supply, which you recognize, that Countyline brand. I also have a wood splitter of that brand as well, which I like. It seems to be pretty well decent made. I mean, it's it's that mid-market range in terms of quality, I think. Like, I don't know about Titans, but kind of like that. Good, not great if you're a professional or a farmer or somebody who rely on this stuff all the time. You probably go with a higher grade, but I didn't want to spend as much money, and I won't use this that often, probably a couple times a year. And so anyway, and it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not mowing hay fields or anything like that. It's just going to be keeping undergrowth trimmed down. So we're going to go ahead and unstrap this thing. I also have a couple blocks here. We're going to put, I'm going to kind of lift this up and get it on the block so I can get underneath a little bit easier, which is where I'll show you is where the shaft and stuff are strapped to that we need, that goes on here. I also, not everybody will need these, but because I have the quick hitch system, so I got a bushing kit to go on this as well. So I can use the quick hitch on my tractor, as well as I got this, I don't know if I need this or not, but I had it already. And this will be the for the upper 3-point top link. So those obviously on the bottom left and right link. So I think that's everything that I have. Hopefully that's everything I need, other than feels like there was another little wrench. I'll figure that out as we go along and show you. So I'm going to go ahead and speed the rest of this up for a little bit, get partway down the road, and then we'll stop and talk a little bit more about what we've gotten done so far. Pretty straightforward, so watching this video will be all you really need, but it's always good to look through the manual, especially for some of the safety things, and kind of make sure you understand where the grease points, although again I'll show those in this video. So let's get going on it. All right, I just edited a lot of that out or sped it out because I spent a good 15 to 20 minutes just trying to get this one loose. I was using what I originally showed you, the vice grips. Those were not nearly strong enough. I was going to bend them or break them. I figured that out, so I went and grabbed a bigger pipe wrench, muscled on that, couldn't get it, and went and put a bunch of PE Blaster penetration oil everywhere that I could. That wasn't doing it, and so I only have, for my bigger stuff, I haven't invested. I mean, obviously these 3/4 inch heavy duty sockets are pretty expensive, so I only have a metric set, and these are US English, but 35 millimeter is loose, but it worked. As you saw, I put the breaker bar, that still wasn't enough. I added a little bit more leverage to my breaker bar while keeping the pipe wrench fixed in place against the force against the body of the bush cutter itself, and I finally got it off. So anybody at whoever assembled this thing, I assume that was done at the manufacturer. The other side wasn't bad at all. I got that one off, but this one was just an absolute beast. I don't have an impact wrench here, which probably would have been the better tool to use for it. But so anyway, I made do with what I had, and I got that off. So let's get started assembling this thing now that we're trying to really basically get that part disassembled. All right, people at Countyline, there is no need to tighten these down this tight for shipping purposes, because the first thing anybody's got to do is take it apart to assemble it fully. So just please don't I mean, you must be using big impact wrenches, or maybe this has been sitting for a long time. Maybe this unit's not that new, but even though I paid for a new one and bought it at a store, these bolts have been sitting for a little while. So anyway, it just doesn't need to be quite that tight, at least for shipping. Yes, we need to tighten it back down. We use it on the tractor because it'll vibrate, but anyway, I'm sure nobody's listening, but if you are, please make note of that. That would be a lot easier for the people that are watching this who want to buy one of these. All right, so we finally got it to the point where it's assembled mostly. What we're gonna do next, at least the things that need to be bolted together, bolted, unbolted, put back together, they're all together solid now. Next we've got to pull this little O-ring off of here, clip this and pull this netting off, probably put a little bit of grease on there. And then we've got to do a couple things with this shaft, including there's a way to release these plastic covers, rubber covers, and slide them back a little bit. And then we've got you can see one of the joints here, one of the greasing points. Grease fittings right there, so we'll hit that. And there's one on the other end, we'll hit that. And then there are two other greasing points, I believe, according to the instructions, out here. So there's this one. And I think there's one on the wheel itself. Yeah, there it is right there. So we've got those points to hit. And of course, we've got to fill up our gearbox here with gear oil. And let's see what's next. Then we'll put on the add-on pieces that I got for the quick hitch. Excuse me. Don't even know if I need this one. But I definitely need those to go on so that we can just back the tractor right up and lift it up. Hopefully it'll work fine. We'll see. But that's where we are right now. Let's keep going. Well, look at that. The whole thing came right out. Put a new one on there. That took quite a bit of grease, but that original fitting that was in there was not the right thing. It was too small and it was loose, and it seemed to be plugged up because I couldn't even pump grease through it. So luckily I had my handy dandy kit that I like to have. You never know, even on a brand new piece of equipment, although this thing is kind of not looking so new. There's a lot of rust and it's been sitting outside for quite a while. Kind of feel like they should have given me a little bit of a discount on it. But it was the last one they had, I guess, and we're getting rid of it. So anyway, and it's the last one they had at this store, I should say. Let's hope this grease fitting's a little better. There we go. You can see it coming out the top now. The other one I couldn't really see it coming out anywhere, but I pumped it until I couldn't pump anymore, and it took quite a bit, so I think that one's fine. Just make sure this is tightened down too. Oh, you know what? This doesn't. I can't even tighten this one. I guess you have to use a pair of vice grips. It's just round, but it feels pretty tight, so I'm not going to worry about that. Gotta say, there's definitely a bit more rust on here than I would like to see. I think this is going to be okay all greased up, but it just doesn't seem like full price material. This thing doesn't feel new. I'm so glad I decided to work on this at home, put it together here instead of taking it up to Bear Ridge and doing it, because you just need so many tools. I just am really kind of surprised how many tools I needed to put a few things together. But what I'm showing you now is the stuff that I hadn't shown you before. So earlier a little bit earlier in the video, I showed you what you needed, but I ended up needing more. So the 85W90 gear oil I talked about. Obviously a little funnel to help getting it in. I couldn't figure out what size this plug was, but this is what we've got to take this plug out, and then we'll fill from the top up here until the gear oil gets up to this point. But this plug needed I think that's 7/8. Yeah, 7/8. 3/4 is what I needed for the joints. U-joint, the universal joints, and I also used the impact with the 3/4 inch on the other side just to be a little quicker with that one. What else did we need? Rust cutter, because I'm seeing some rust spots, so I'm going to hit that. We've talked about rust cutter before. I like that. Hammer I used to, the thing was bent, the support piece that was just in there for shipping, and I'll probably also need it to hammer in the little cotter pins that will go in when we put on the quick link bushings. I use this, although you could probably use all kinds of different tools to try to pop these things. You saw me struggle with that too. I've still got to do the other end, which I'll do. The PB blaster, I think I already showed you that. Rubber gloves, obviously grease and a rag. I used a 35 millimeter for those the lower 3-point hooks there. 34 millimeter would be better. I just didn't have one, and that seemed to work. That worked well because it's a really heavy duty one. So with the 3/4 inch breaker bar, you saw that was a monster, which really was very frustrating. But I'm getting really close now. So all we have left is the gear oil, and then grease the other fitting on the end down here. After I get that rubber sleeve off, then we'll put on our bushings and our top pin if we're going to use it. May not need it, we'll see. And I think what I may do is just go ahead and get the tractor and get this thing off and try it out on the tractor here before I get up there, in case there's anything else. I just don't know what else in terms of fitment or operation. The spline's supposed to fit perfectly, but let's just do it and find out. I originally was going to try to take it up there today and leave it and come back so that I could get the tractor next weekend. But I'm running out of time today. I've got to go do some other things this afternoon too. So I think we'll just go ahead and use the little bit of time we have to get that put together and try it out on the tractor and see what it does. I don't really have any place. Maybe I can go out on a trail somewhere. I don't have a place to try it here. But as you know, at Bear Ridge is a lot of space I need to use it. So let's keep going. All right, that's it. Worked pretty well. There's just a lot of little trees and some tall grass and stuff in here. Some not really trees, like, you know, bushes, but pretty muddy out here today. So it's just been raining and raining. So I guess I could have dropped it down a little lower, but I cleared all this out too. This had some little bit bigger stuff in here, but so good little trial run. It has on the bottom of it too, I guess they call it a stump jumper. I think that's what it's called. Like, you see that plastic disc there? I think that's supposed to help. Like when I backed up over here, I didn't know this big rock was over here. And you can see that I got in far. Maybe it was just the metal hit it, so maybe it didn't. Luckily I didn't hit it with the blades, but I need to move that rock. Where's my rock pile? But I'll do that another day. At this point I'm going to load this back up on the trailer and have it ready to go for next week's video. Hopefully it'll be next week. I'm going to try to get back up to Bear Ridge. Unfortunately it's going to take 2 trips because my trailer isn't big enough for the bush hog, the tractor, and everything on it. So, and I don't think I can put the grapple. I don't think it'll fit even without the grapple. So I'm probably going to end up having to do 2 trips up there and just leave the bush hog up there because I won't really need it down here. I don't think, not till fall maybe. So anyway, I hope you've found this useful, especially if you're going to buy one, put one together. Bit of a not as simple as I thought it was going to be, honestly. I mean, I put a lot of things together. You've seen me put a lot of things together on this channel. This was a little bit more of a pain in the rear end than other things I put together, but it's decent. I think it's good quality. It seems pretty decent. Good mid-range kind of thing. Everything went on here, no problem. And I'm probably going to need to figure out how to adjust that a little bit. Maybe adjust my idle speed as well too. One of the nice things about this tractor, even though it's a hydrostatic and it'll automatically accelerate as it needs to as you push on it more, you also can manually keep your revs up here when you're running something like the bush hog or a rototiller on the back. So I'll just have to kind of experiment with that a little bit. I'll let you know more about that when I get up there and start using it up in the woods. So but that's it. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks again for helping me create things, fix things, and enjoy God's creation outside. Even when it's muddy and a little bit overcast, it's all right. It was sunny earlier, so. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. Hit the bell to get notified when new ones come out. Hit the like button if you like it. Most importantly, share it with friends. So until next time, have a fantastic week, and I will see you on the next project.